Today we are going to present on the topic CSS parser. So now, why is parsing so important? Parser is a compiler that is used to break the data into smaller elements coming from the lexical analysis phase. A parser takes input in the form of sequence of tokens and produces output in the form of parse tree. Parsing is of two types, top-down parsing and bottom-up parsing. As you can see in the diagram, the parser takes input in the form of tokens from the lexical analyzer and produces the parse tree. About CSS and parsing. Now, if your site takes forever to load, CSS is often the culprit of the increased load times. When we say that users want quick load times, we have to draw the distinction between critical and non-critical resources. The resources that delay the first render of the page are considered to be critical, and the ones that do not delay the initial render of the page are considered to be non-critical. So now, what is the critical rendering path? Critical rendering path is the minimum steps that the browser has to take from the moment it receives the first byte of the HTML to the moment that it renders the pixels on the screen for the first time. What are the steps? First, to build the document object model from the received HTML. Second, if we encounter a CSS style sheet, start building the CSS object model. And third, if we encounter a JS block while building the document object model, wait for the CSS object model construction and then stop the document object model construction and parse or execute the code. The reason for this is because the JS execution can modify the document object model and access or modify the CSS object model. Now, building the CSS object model. So firstly, the HTML and critical rendering path. The document object model is a tree-like data structure consisting of all the HTML nodes on the page. Each node consists of data about the HTML element, such as attributes, IDs, and classes. If the node has any HTML elements as children, it will also point to those child nodes. Now, when the browser enters or encounters a CSS style sheet, it needs to parse the text into something that can be used for styling layouts and paints. The data structure that the browser turns CSS into is creatively called a CSS object model. Essentially, we parse through any CSS selectors we have and assign them their place in the tree. If there's a single selector, it will be attached to the root node of the tree. Nested selectors will be attached to the node which they are nested underneath. The CSS parser has to read nested selectors from right to left in order to guarantee that they end up underneath the correct code. Turning CSS into CSS object model is considered to be render blocking stage, just like building the document object model out of the HTML. Now, render tree. The browser uses the constructed CSS object model and document object model to create the render tree. In short, the render tree contains all of the information needed for the browser to create the pixels on the page. The browser basically takes the document object model and the CSS object model, mixes them together, removing anything that won't have an effect on the rendered input. First, the browser removes all the non-visible elements like head, scripts, and meta, as well as HTML elements that have hidden attributes. Next, we go through the CSS object model and find out that the elements in our current render tree match the CSS selectors. After we have combined our CSS object model and the document object model in a render tree, the browser can use this safely and assume that the render tree contains exactly the information needed to paint those first pixels. The last phase of the critical rendering pipeline consists of two main steps, layout and paint.
So this is how our CSS object model looks like. In the previous slide, Harsoma explained that how to build a CSS model. Here we have taken an example of the CSS object model. So this is the body, the head. So we have put something in head, the division, and another division. So this is how exactly the CSS object model will look like in the output. This is the tree format of the CSS object model. Also, we see when we load a web page, it consumes a lot of time. We want only the essential part to load first, and other part we don't want. We can it can be loaded afterwards. So for this, CSS parser will help us. Now we'll see how to implement CSS parser. So this is the input for our code. So here we see there is the dot foo and body. Both are the different parts of our input, and both will execute simultaneously one after each another. And in tree also, only first one part will be executed, and only after that the other part will be executed. So we take the input in the form of HTML. So you can see here we have taken the input text area ID is equal to input in the form of HTML, and also we have taken the output in form of HTML. Now we'll go to CSS part. So you can see in the CSS part we have given the position, the padding, the width and height of the text area that the input we are taking. Also also the output of our code will not exactly come in the form of tree. It will come in the form of text only. So for the user to distinguish from the input and the output, we are given a different font and different CSS style to that, so the user can understand what exactly the output will be like.
Alright, now that we are done with the HTML and CSS part of the code, coming to the JavaScript part of the code, what we have done here is we have declared 4 different types of functions, which are update, parse CSS, parse rule, and stringify rule. So first of all, coming to the update function, what it does is it basically takes whatever input is given by the user, whatever text is there in that, it is updated and stored in parsed over here. So it basically separates the input into different JSON tokens, and it is constantly being updated and stored over here in parsed. Coming to the parse CSS function, which is being called by the update along with the stringify rule. What we do here in parsing of CSS is that we do not require any comments and white spaces. So for that we have used this particular statement over here, that is used to replace all the comments that are present. Now whatever input is given by the user, for example, we can say that here we have 2 different things to be considered as input. So we basically separate them and store them in an array called rules over here, and we use a tokenizer. Now what the tokenizer does is it makes use of regex and creates a list of different JSON functions. Now here, as you can see, the first part of the tokenizer statement is the first capturing the rule, which matches with .fwo over here, and the second part which involves braces, it involves the remaining body that is there along with the input. Here, as you can see, the small s represents all the spaced characters, and the capital S, it represents all the not spaced characters, which together form all the characters that are present in the input provided by the user, and the plus over here signifies that one or more characters are being considered. So now what will happen is whatever input is given to us by the user is being executed, and it is being trimmed over here, as you can see. So here the token 1, it represents the .4, and the token 2, it represents all the remaining body that is there along with it, which is being trimmed. It happens in a selector body format. So for example, token 1 will represent .fwo, and token 2 will represent the color red and left equal to 10 pixels. All of this is being returned in the rules array and is constantly being updated. Also, 2 other things are being considered over here. One is selector text and the other is style. What selector text does is it tells us on what the CSS is being used, and the style tag, it tells us what CSS is being used. Now coming to the parse rule function, what it basically does is it uses rules to tokenize the CSS text into different style attributes. Here, as you can see, this entire statement, it is a bit complex, but I'll simplify it for you. And the part that is present over here before colon, it is generalized for all the input that is in terms of, for example, over here color, left and background, and all the part that is after the colon over here, it represents red, 10 pixels, and orange. So here it is a generalized token for whatever input is given by the user in form of CSS. Now if we were to use console.log on the input provided over here, then we would get color red, left 10 pixels, and background orange. Now all of that is being returned as an object, and we can see it over here in the output file here in the style part, which has all the text that is present. and also we have the CSS text part over here. Now what CSS text basically means is that it is similar to the string text, but it does not have any comments or white spaces. Now that is done using stringify rule function over here, which is basically used to print the JSON text that is provided as input. This particular statement is very important over here, replace, which is used to remove all the white spaces that are present. So as you can see, the input that is provided is split into different kinds of tokens, and this is the output we get.
So now let's see the output for the given code. This is the input file which is given to generate the output. The output of the code looks something like this. The CSS parser first divides the output into two parts, namely FW and body, as given in the input. The first thing that you see over here is selector text. Now what's a selector text? Selector text is on what the CSS is being used. The next is the style. Style is what CSS is being used. That is, this is a description of the CSS things that are used in the code. So over here, the first part is .fw. In the .fw part, the style used is color red and left 10px. And the next thing is CSS text. Now what's the CSS text? CSS text is similar to a normal text, but the main difference is that it does not contain the comments as well as the spaces which are generated during the code. It does not take into consideration all such things. So here you can see that there are two parts, namely .fw and body. So we can notice that the CSS parser works in a sequential manner as given in the input code. As you can see that in the input code, the first part is .fw and the next part is body. So similarly in the output, the first analysis was done for the .fw part, where the selector text, style and CSS text was generated for the fw part, and the next part was body. So the next time the selector text, style and background color and CSS text was generated for the body part. We had implemented our entire code on the JS Fiddle IDE. So now what's JS Fiddle? JS Fiddle is an online IDE service and an online community for testing and collaborating user-created HTML, CSS and JavaScript code snippets called Fiddle. So as you can see in this image, there are three parts, namely HTML, CSS and JavaScript, which are combined together on a single screen, and the output is generated on the rightmost corner of the screen. So the JS Fiddle was quite a comfortable IDE for such kind of code. Now the conclusion. The CSS parser is implemented as a package of Java classes that inputs cascading style sheets source text and outputs a document object model of level 2 style tree. Alternative applications use SAC, the simple API for CSS. It is a Java class which is available as in the form of a jar file. CSS SOM not only makes loading of web pages quicker but efficient also. It also improves selector performance of nodes during parse tree creation. System programming makes use of CSS parser to make things simpler and easier. Thank you.